With Elden Ring on the horizon, now is the last chance to polish up on your weapons, armor, and skills before heading into the lands between. But what if I told you there's still something that you haven't made battle ready, and that it doesn't have a single thing to do with your actual mechanics? Elden Ring is almost here, and I have never been so excited to die a bunch and get angry. The last time that was comparable, I actually spent 43 hours trying to get a no damage kill on Sword Saint Ishin on the release week of Sekiro. During this time of darkness and suffering, I spent some time thinking about the choices in my life that led me to this space, and how I wound up here, and if I could have done anything myself to avoid it. And it was during this time that I realized that even once I had learned every move the boss had, I was still dropping attempts, and I was still having problems where, on theory, I should have been fine because I knew exactly what he was going to do next. It was then that I discovered that there was a part of the mental game that I was losing, where things were causing me to make bad choices that were leading to my demise. And these are the things I'm going to be talking about today. The first one of these is being greedy. That's when you know the boss a little bit, you kind of have an idea what's going on, and you try to fit one more attack in before he attacks. You know he's going to attack, you have a good idea of what his attack's going to be, but you just think you can get one more hit in there, and then you just get slapped down. The boss wombo combos you into the wall, and you just realize that you've made a terrible mistake and have to walk all the way back and collect your shame. The second of which is being zealous. If you're overzealous, say you get to the second boss phase and you've gotten the first boss phase down pretty well, you routinely get to the second phase before you start having problems, and then you just start losing on the first phase. Well, what's likely happening is that you are being too zealous. You're trying so hard to get to the second phase that you're disrespecting the first phase and just making it more difficult upon yourselves. Speaking of disrespect, that is actually our third issue here, even though I just mentioned it a little bit in the last one. What's different here is that this is more in regards to specific moves. So say the boss is a fairly telegraphed move that is super easy to dodge and that you always avoid without really paying much attention to it. If you continue to think that way and don't give it the respect you need, then suddenly you can just start getting clapped by that move. Especially if you start to look at that move as a small break in the fight to give yourself a mental reset. Losing focus like that could easily set you up for eating shit. The fourth thing is I would sometimes find myself being lazy. Especially with big AoE moves that give you time to get away, I would look at the corner and be like, I'm definitely going to be safe if I go there, but I probably don't need to go that far. I could probably just stay over here a little bit, and then the move goes off, I take a few hits and die, and then I really wish I just would have taken a few extra steps. It's alright. I'm sure I'll work off more calories walking back from the bonfire than I will taking those extra steps into the corner of the room anyway, so. The fifth thing I had issues with was getting distracted. Normally it would be, again during the earlier phases that I had on farm, I would be devoting my mental power to trying to figure out what I could do about moves that were farther in, so that I'd be ready when they came along. Generally this seemed like a great idea until I was dead and walking back from the bonfire, and then I had to realize that I have to pay attention to what's happening in the first phase to get past it. And the final one was fear. When I started putting in a lot of repetitions onto Ishin, this one became very apparent. The faster I was able to get through stuff, and the more control I had over the boss. If I played back more, there was more chance of there being moves that I didn't want to have to deal with that would come out. For example, if you learned the first phase of a boss by staying on top of the boss and meleeing the entire stamina bar, then suddenly when you hit a move that scares you and you start playing back and let the boss chase you, you have to deal with an entirely different moveset that you have no idea what's going on with. It's impossible to stay vigilant for these 24/7, but if you see you're having trouble with a particular fight, pay attention and see if any of these come up. Keeping your mind open and making sure you're watching for these will help you eliminate them and make sure you keep progressing regardless of what's going on with your mechanical skills. I hope this helps you on your journey through Elden Ring, and I'll see you guys next time.